Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Trippy Commentaries. Thanks for joining me here in Grand Theft Auto 5 as we try to solve the Chiliad mystery. Rockstar really went out of their way to make sure the most mysterious point in the game is visible at a lot of the key locations. You guys ever notice that when you go over to the Two Hoots Falls, you can see a perfect view of the top of Mount Chiliad over in Sandy Shores? It's ominously towering over the entire city. The alien hippie camp, you can see Mount Chiliad in the distance. Of course, at Paleto Bay, you're right underneath the mountain. And it even goes for some of the locations in Los Santos, like the observatory and the top of the maze bank. There's a lot of mysteries behind the mountain, and it's not just the mural that's on top. Now, Mount Chiliad is meant to be a representation of Mount Shasta. I'm telling you guys, Mount Shasta is one of the most mysterious locations in the entire world. So there's no coincidence that it all makes Mount Chiliad the most mysterious location here in GTA 5. I'm going to show you some pretty crazy stuff, guys. Thanks again for joining up here at the channel. Hit me up on Twitter if you guys have any theories that you want to share. We have some upcoming live streams where we're going to do some viewer Chiliad mystery theories. I'm really looking forward to that, guys. So like I said, hit me up on Twitter at TrippyComs if you want to submit anything that you want us to try live in front of hundreds of people. So thanks again for joining. Stay trippy, guys. So, as far as this episode is concerned, I'm telling you, we're going to look at some mind-blowing things, possibly an underground entrance to Mount Chiliad. Did you guys ever know that Mount Shasta, the mountain that Chiliad is based off of, is known to have mummies buried inside of it? There's some crazy stuff to talk about. I'm going to show you some interesting videos as well. I will tell you, though, I have some people hitting me up telling me, Trippy, Chiliad is not meant to be Mount Shasta. I live in California, and Mount Shasta is nowhere near Los Angeles, so it wouldn't make sense. You have to remember, guys, Mount Chiliad was originally in the original San Andreas, meaning that in that game, it wasn't next to Los Santos. It was actually closer to San Fierro. It was part of Northern California, I guess you can say, in that game. So they kind of changed it up in this San Andreas. I mean, they managed to cut out all of Las Venturas, all of San Fierro in this edition of San Andreas. But you can definitely be sure that they were going to keep Mount Chiliad. And for those of you who've played plenty of Grand Theft Auto games, you know that most of them are flat. Chiliad is what gives this one that extra dimension that even GTA 4 did not have. So let's get into the real mysteries of Mount Chiliad. The first thing that got me really interested in Mount Shasta was the fact that it is a volcano. And we know that Mount Chiliad has had clues of possibly erupting with the tsunamis, the earthquakes. All of that can be created by a volcano. But that's really just the tip of the iceberg. Check out a quick Google search of Mount Shasta. At first, it's pretty normal. You have the city of Mount Shasta. You scroll down, you have Mount Shasta, mysterious mountain of California. And that's right here on the first page. Scroll down a little bit further, you have Mount Shasta Ski Park. Okay, nothing to that. But here we have sacred Mount Shasta and its spiritual mysteries. And if you keep scrolling through, you're going to get more and more stuff. Mount Shasta Mysteries. I've shown off here on the channel, there's actually a website called Mount Shasta Mysteries. So isn't it insane how this is one of the most mysterious mountains, not only in California, but of course planet Earth, and it's represented in GTA 5. So maybe some of you aren't too impressed in the different websites that you can find on Mount Shasta. Well, do a quick search on YouTube and check this out. We're talking about long movies based on this mountain. Strange paranormal encounters of Mount Shasta. And you can see in the search bar, I just put in Mount Shasta. It's not like I put in mysteries or anything like that. Alien Legends of Mount Shasta. Are you kidding me? Part 1. Mount Shasta's secret space program. Wait a minute, part 1. So how many parts are there? The climb, Mount Shasta, that looks pretty epic. 24 minutes. I'll put that in the description in case you want to check that out. I haven't seen it yet, but I can imagine it's pretty good. The spiritual energy of Mount Shasta and the legends of Mount Shasta, the movie. Damn, a whole movie based on this stuff. This is crazy. The forgotten history of Mount Shasta. Very interesting, guys, but there's one video that I think shows us that there's something we're overlooking big time. A lot of us have speculated there's underground tunnels going throughout Mount Chiliad for a long time. Even the Chiliad mural seems to depict underground tunnels in the mountain, and if you look at these different rock formations, they seem to be perfect locations for hidden underground entrances. Now, we probably would have found it by now, but there was a leak about an upcoming DLC. I'm not sure if it's been canceled, but it was an Alien War DLC that had an underground UFO as well as a UFO airbase within Mount Chiliad. So that seems to line up possibly with Mount Shasta. There's legends of underground chambers within the mountain, and that definitely looks like the Chiliad mural. And let's hear about the stories about how we're possibly going to get inside. The biggest mystery of Mount Shasta is about a man named J.C. Brown. Legend says that he was hired back in 1904 to find gold within the mountain. He did get the gold, but he also found something much bigger. He first came across a cave that went down 11 miles. Inside the cave, it had gold, apparently some shields and some other stuff, as well as 10-foot tall mummies. This is very far away from Egypt, and there are no 10-foot tall humans. I'm thinking that they are aliens. So some people gathered in Stockton, California to try to find this underground village, but Brown disappeared and nobody heard from him ever again. Pretty crazy stuff, guys. Take a look at a possible entrance to the mountain. Here's some footage of a strange formation on Mount Shasta. Some people believe that this could be the blocked off entrance to the insides of the mountain. Notice how the rock on the inside is a different color than the other rocks surrounding it. I know it's a little bit hard to believe, but maybe this is somehow a portal into the mountain, and it does look familiar to something in GTA 5 as well. But check these out, guys. Here's some ancient entrances to portals from our past. The Rock Shelter Malta. Does that look familiar to you guys? The Gate of the Sun Tiwanaku, that's over in Bolivia. That looks very much like a cave in GTA 5 on Chiliad, as well as this one, the Arumu Muru Portal, Peru, the Labby Rock over in Ireland. They all look strangely like an entrance on Mount Chiliad that we've yet to solve. And then there's the cave underneath the Altruist camp. That is exactly what this is meant to represent, guys. The question is, how do we activate the portal inside of Mount Chiliad? Now, if you ask me, I really think that it's just meant to be a normal entrance. For some reason, it is not open for us. It just seems like it's meant to. That back wall there with the sun, I don't know, it just seems to have that formation that it could easily slide out of the way, and then we walk in here as if it's an underground bunker that you purchase in GTA Online. But many of us have clipped underground and even flown underneath the Altruist camp. It doesn't look like there's any kind of hidden village down there at all. But considering the history that they have here at the Altruist camp, the fact that they were the ones to build this portal or this entrance in the first place, it just shows me that there's a lot more behind this, guys. And to me, you know, it's one of those locations that I never really could figure out for sure. I had my thoughts and my theories on what it could represent with the praise hymn and the give thanks, but I really do think that it's meant to be a portal to the underground. I was looking at some people and their reactions to their visit to Mount Shasta, and they seem to have some sort of spiritual experience. I'll let this guy, who seems almost obsessed with the mountain, let you know what's going on here.
Why am I so obsessed with Mount Shasta? Well, Mount Shasta is located north of Sacramento, Northern California, and it's a very sacred site on the planet. There's a city inside the mountain. It's called Telos. And ancient Lemurian people, thousands of years ago, built that city just before the Great Flood took over. Now, the beings that live inside the mountain, they have reached a state of immortality. They're fifth dimensional and beyond. And they appeared to me several times when I was there. Now, I feel so fortunate to be in contact with these beings because they ultimately want to appear to everybody, but they want us to do our work. They want us to raise our frequencies.
Okay, now I know some of you guys are thinking that that must be the real-life version of Omega, or at least one of his cousins or something. Well, it gets even trippier.
Mount Shasta is a volcano located at the southern end of the Cascade Range in Siskiyou County, California. At 14,179 feet, it is the second highest peak in the Cascades and the fifth highest in California. The strange true story of a 3-year-old child that was lost in the Shasta forest for 5 hours is just one of the many strange things that have happened. He was gone within a second, according to witnesses. Other campers were thought responsible and questioned, but later that day the boy reappeared and told a story not of this earth. He claimed he was abducted by a robot double of his grandmother and taken to a cave filled with spiders. A strange story. Well, it gets odder. The very same grandmother claims she woke up one morning face down in the dirt, having been removed from her tent and sleeping bag whilst camping at Mount Shasta. When she woke, she had a puncture wound on the back of her head. She said she felt violently ill that morning, and felt strangely emotionless, so she thought she'd been bitten by a poisonous spider. She said she was with a friend who'd been sleeping in his separate camper, and he also woke up with a bite on the back of his neck, and he felt ill as well. The only thing strange she could recall was seeing single red eyes shining through the trees and their flashlights night before, which they thought were deer. Coincidentally, 2 more bizarre incidents happened around Mount Shasta during the time period of the boy's disappearance, in 2011. That same month, in September, a Los Angeles area man hiking the Pacific Crest Trail heard the beautiful singing of a female voice coming from the direction of Mount Shasta, and wandered off the trail to follow it, becoming lost in the woods. He claims he was abducted and taken to a dark chamber in a cave and stripped of all his clothing. A tall female with unnatural blue eyes and strange clothing appeared and gave him a gift and secret information, which he declined to provide details of. He was reportedly lost for several weeks, and after surviving this ordeal, this person now believes he is the incarnation of a messianic Hindu god, and changed his name to Lord Kalki. Mount Shasta is legendary for containing all kinds of local folklore about underground tunnels and hollow earth-type theories. These kinds of stories revolve around underground military installations and UFO bases, ancient tombs and caverns and cities buried beneath the mountain. A multidimensional city called Telos is believed by many to reside beneath the mountain, inhabited by Lemurians who built a sanctuary beneath Mount Shasta after the downfall of their own civilization. An exhaustive list of all the stories of people who've claimed to be taken into the underground chambers and caverns beneath Mount Shasta would fill a lot of books, and extends well back into the late 1800s. Sometimes people claim to venture into these subterranean regions voluntarily, at other times, not so voluntarily.